Should you play Silent Hill, the short message? No, absolutely not. In fact, playing through this 2-hour game made me cancel my pre order for Silent Hill 2, the 2024 remake. Let me explain why this is the worst game I've played in the past decade. This review is going to include the full story and gameplay, so I'm letting you know now that a spoiler warning is in effect. But you shouldn't be playing this game anyway, so go ahead and listen to the rest of this review. I streamed this on Twitch, and unfortunately, I didn't fix my microphone until after my stream ended. If you could have heard me talking to my friend during the stream, you would have heard me complain immediately within the first minute of gameplay that I was shocked at how poorly the game controlled. If you're old, you've probably had the unfortunate experience of early PC gaming, where your input control lagged on screen because your PC wasn't fast enough to keep up with everything. This new Silent Hill game reminded me of those old PC games, where I would tell my character, for example, to turn left, but then there'd be a 500 millisecond delay before my character turned. But we're not running an NVIDIA GeForce MX 440 card on a Pentium 4 anymore. I played this on the PlayStation 5, and I expected the PlayStation 5 to deliver smooth gameplay. The game is developed on Unreal Engine 5, but I don't think that's the reason why the inputs are janky. The recent retro boom in the video game market probably isn't due to people who want their games to play poorly. They probably want the original stories and atmosphere, not the laggy controls. I suspect the developers knew that their horror game wasn't very horrifying, so they decided to spice things up by adding a bit of frustration with the laggy controls. And to add to this frustration, we also have a very small field of view, along with this maze that we have to run through multiple times throughout this game. I imagine anyone who watches a Let's Play of this game will suffer from motion sickness. We are thrown into a rusty maze between each plot point, and I initially couldn't tell if we were supposed to explore the maze for clues, or if it was like PT, where every iteration of the maze would give us new jump scares. Unfortunately, the whole point of the maze is just to find the exit. The maze is there to prolong the gameplay, and it accounts for more than 50% of the playthrough. But having us run in circles in a tiny maze is cruel when our field of view is so narrow. So now we finally get to the problem, which is the story. All those things are awful, but then the story makes everything so much worse. There are a few different ideas all thrown together, with barely a narrative thread to tie them all together. The reason this game is called Silent Hills is because apparently Silent Hill is a mental condition named after a town where people with depression tended to fall into a mental state where they hallucinate horrors and see the world in a state of fog. But this explanation is literally just a line they throw in at the 1.5 hour mark into the game, with no other mention of Silent Hill anywhere else. We don't even have any horrifying creatures except this one flower monster in the maze. Unfortunately, this flower monster isn't scary because we're told from the beginning of the game that she isn't a monster, but rather she's a friendly artist that we're looking for. So we play this character that lives in an apartment when young girls commit suicide. Even we commit suicide multiple times throughout this Silent Hill game, but we can't die of suicide, and we can't die to this artist monster, so there's really no horror there. We get plopped right back into the apartment maze after we quote-unquote die. For these suicides that happen in this apartment, they might be due to a witch who was blamed and killed for a failing economy in the early 1900s, but that plot point isn't explored any further. We get a ton of lore about this city being downtrodden because of a 2008 economic crisis, but I really didn't need 30 minutes of world building explaining why the apartment looks like a crack den. The entire story plays out as if we're having a nightmare, so I didn't really need a quarter of our game time spent explaining why the environment looks so poor. And it still doesn't explain why we spend another 20 minutes learning about a mother who inadvertently killed her child because she wanted her boyfriend to pay more attention to her. Maybe the character we're playing is the surviving sibling from that family. Maybe we find the body of our mother who committed suicide in a bathtub because there's a scene of somebody with, slit wrists. But it wasn't really conclusive. We do find out that we are the reason that the artist died. The main character that we play ends up bullying the artist into committing suicide because we were afraid that the artist was going to steal our best friend. So I guess we are playing as a psycho? The game ends when we realize that being a bully is bad, and we try to commit suicide once again to atone for our sins. But a text message from our best friend that says, "Let's go shopping," stops us from committing suicide that last time, and it snaps us out of that Silent Hill fog. So I guess, kids, if you're an abused child living in the projects, haunted by both a witch and a dead girl, nothing will cure your depression faster than retail therapy. Go shopping, girl. I guess that's the point of the message. The message of the game. It's baffling. The game is a 1 out of 10. What a horrible story. What a waste of time. Thanks for watching the review. Don't play this game.